not know, but when I was born in Littleton and raised in Franconia, our land was completely surrounded by Hannah land. We were like this little island that was not Hannah. But one of the things that I learned to love up here, besides skiing and outdoors, was horseback riding. And many of you don't know this, but Joni was a very good horse person. And we used to ride our horses into Franconia. We actually once brought them up to Echo Lake, had them swim in Echo Lake.
Oh my Lord.
And all of this was, I think a lot, you brought so much. We would see Joni and her siblings, especially Joni on her horses, ride by our house. And so she was also a very accomplished horsewoman.
Were they farm horses?
No, it was, yeah, no, it wasn't, no, it was just a nice little
Sparkles.
sparkles. And when I wasn't around, you were free to ride it too.
I know.
And didn't they used to get into someone's garden all the time?
My horse.
My mother would let you know.
Oh, she's scary.
I also think that Bibi was a horsewoman. Didn't you take your horse to Emma Willard Finishing School?
Yeah.
And part of the equestrian program?
I wasn't so fancy. I rode bareback with bare feet into town and stopped at the village store to get popsicles and feed my horse popsicles. And the horse, whenever I went through town, the horse would automatically make a turn to the right and stop right there, waiting for me to get him on the popsicle.
Well, my grandson went to Middlebury to just check it out, and the admissions building was Emma Willard Admissions Building at Middlebury. And I was talking to Bibi one time, and I said, "Who the heck was Emma Willard?" And she said, "That's the finishing school I went to in upstate New York." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, Bibi, you rode horses?" It's like, I was so impressed with all of that.
Any other questions?
Oops, sorry.
Anybody else? I'd like to thank you all so much. I hope we didn't go over time.
Oh, that's great.
I hope that this becomes an annual thing with other people emceeing, you know, people that you admire or think that we don't know about that are quiet. You know, let's bring them out and let's all just have fun together at the club.
Everybody has said what a great idea Delia had, and people are already thinking of the next foursome. So thank you for coming up with the idea and putting together this fabulous panel of ladies. And is there anybody here who didn't learn something new about one of these people today?
Oh my God.
All right, so thank you, Delia, for organizing everything, and thank you, ladies, for sharing. And they have a lot of photos and things over here. So please come on over and enjoy the photos.
Betsy Fraser.
Whoa.
Betsy.
I do have a question. I have a question for all of them, actually.
Sure.
So, as a mom, what I take away from all of this is that you're all very impressionable, unique women, and you're like a force to be reckoned with, right? When I think of my mom and my nan who just passed, what is like the one thing that you did with your kids? And I know it's going to be individual to all of us. Like the one special thing that you did with your kids to make yourself memorable before they like left you to go to college or something.
I had a version of that question. Let's see. One second. I think I know exactly where she started. Because I was going to ask the same question.
Just give us the one in one word.
One word.
So, all right.
One word.
I had a version of this question. What is the best advice you can give young parents in how to raise their children, either in the North Country like you did, or just what values you want to instill in them, and what activities you did together that help bring that about?
Well, I feel very fortunate that my kids were a part of the Profile experience beginning when they were 3 and 7 years old. And we loved Profile the kids both have learned to play golf and they play tennis, swimming, and at the same time, we kept the proper perspective because the Franconia Rec program was very active. And so our kids would have a couple days a week there and 3 days here. And I wanted my kids to go to summer camp. My parents thought I was going to be in summer camp my whole life. I was spent 15 years at summer camp as a counselor and whatever. And I tried to get my kids to go, and they hated it. They went once because it wasn't Profile in Franconia. But this Profile Club and all the kids we have this year, you new members, thank you very much for bringing that. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, me too. I had one who went to summer camp, and she absolutely loved it, but the others wouldn't go. But, yeah. But we did a lot of, we played a lot of tennis, we swam a lot, and we sailed a lot, and we certainly skied a lot together. We did a lot together. And so I don't know, my kids are just absolutely marvelous right now, but you know, when yeah, but when they were teenagers, they were a nightmare. But now, they're fabulous kids now, and they all are very good parents, and you know, I guess those things get passed down, so.
Learning by
Mostly,
example.
Just interacting with your kids, anywhere, anywhere.
What can I say? We sang a lot. We still do. And actually, Phoebe, we sing on the golf course. Yeah, we sing. I think it's just wonderful. So whenever I'm with my kids, you too?
No.
No.
A one and a two.
Yeah, it was great fun.
Well, I didn't have kids, but I can at least think of my experience and those of I had 3 siblings, and there were 2 of us that were farmers, and we really got stuck there, and perhaps that is not the best thing. The rebellious ones went elsewhere to babysit, and one of them caddied up here and learned golf at the Profile Club. And must have been before there were carts. I never even thought about it until I just realized that he was a caddy up here. But so I'm just saying that perhaps in my situation, it might have been easier had the 2 of us that were stuck being farmers for the whole time. If we had had that exposure, it would have been a better thing. Maybe we should have belonged to the club.
But wait, I have a question, Tony. Why don't you tell us about your influence with your nieces and nephews?
You mean the ones my sister's kids?
Yes, yes. Why don't you tell us that story?
My sister had, she had her first child here, moved to Switzerland, had 2 more kids over there, and had her 4th kid over here. And then she became, her husband became the director of skiing at Waterloo Valley, and I ended up being a ski teacher at Loon, both of the areas that my father designed and so forth. And then it was not so long afterwards, about 1973, this area were in 66, 67 that they opened. My sister was killed by a hit-and-run driver in the main street of Franconia. Some kids that had been drinking, and anyway, that was a very sad situation. And so, you know, I, being a single person, you know, they would come and stay with me here and there and that kind of thing. And so then I try and take my sister's place in some ways, and I am helping with college, but I'm a tough aunt. Really tough aunt. I said, you know, okay, I'm helping you. Your mother might have done this, but, you know, if I help put you through college, if I help pay the expenses, you got to pass every subject. If you get caught with drugs, you're out. It's done. You've got to, I mean, you know, they run scared when I tell them what they have to do. But anyway, I say, you know, and I said, so, you know, you don't have to pay it back as long as this is the way it goes. And so when I sold the farm, I put a lot of those monies aside in a 529 for my sister's grandchildren, and so that I'm helping them through school. But I'm a tough auntie.
Thank you all so much, and thank you all for coming. It was really fun.
Great job, Amelia.